Welcome to week 3's development update video for the government plugin that I've been working on. I'll start by saying that I've finally chosen an official name for the plugin, which is going to be Governance. Maybe that's still a little bit bland, but in my mind that's a little bit less boring than the alias I was using as a placeholder, which was just Government. And I decided that, if I haven't come up with a better name 3 weeks into the project, then I doubt I'm going to be thinking of anything creative anytime soon. So I just decided to make up my mind and stick with it so I can stop worrying about that and focus on more important things. Speaking of more important things, what you're seeing right now is me working on and pretty much finishing the most important system of the entire plugin, which is the voting system. This week you'll see that I've spent a lot more time in-game rather than in the IDE coding. And that's because I'm at the point in the project where I really need to start polishing all of the features that I've been working on, from the player's point of view, specifically. Most of the backend stuff has been finished, but that's obviously not what the players are going to see. So I need to make sure there are no errors showing up in the console or in the chat that completely break the plugin, because this week I discovered, I think, a couple errors that were breaking everything. And I spent a few hours just staring at my screen, wondering what the heck I did wrong, but it ended up just being something stupid, like forgetting to change a string value that wasn't causing any compilation errors in the IDE, but were causing a bunch of null errors when I was actually running it in-game, so that was a lot of fun. Anyways, I'm really happy with how the proposal and voting systems turned out. Surprisingly, they turned out pretty much exactly how I wanted them to, which is great because the entire plugin rests on the idea that any player can propose to run any command on the server, whether it's third-party or vanilla. And since this system is so important, I might as well take a minute to explain exactly how it works. So let's say there's a player on a server that is breaking a rule. Any other player online could propose to run a command that punishes that player. So let's say they propose to run the command /ban or /mute or /kick and then that player. All that we need to do is provide the command and reason for running that command, and it will create an announcement in the chat for every player to vote on. If a proposal receives enough votes, whatever the proposal's command is will be run by the console. So this system alone is already a pretty effective form of government, especially on large servers where the majority of players will almost always vote against the rule breakers. But in order to make sure that the governments don't get too out of hand, I've spent a lot of time this week adding limits to how proposals can pass. The owner of the server has a few different configuration options available to them. Most importantly, they can restrict what proposals can even be run, but they can also change around what percentage of votes are needed to make anything pass. One pretty important feature that I was working on towards the end of this week but didn't quite get to finish was the respect level system. The idea is that when any player joins the server, a respect level value is assigned to them and is stored in an SQLite database. That way, players that abide by the server's rules and are more worthy of respect will accumulate points over time that will save to their file in order to show the other voters that they are trustworthy. A server owner can choose to use this respect level system in a couple of different ways to make sure that the democracy doesn't get out of hand or overrun. First, they can choose to restrict certain commands from being run by players that have a low level of respect. Second, they can use this as a minimum value needed to run for any office, which isn't actually part of the plugin yet, but I plan on adding different governments and elected offices. In order to finish this feature though, I'm probably going to have to learn a lot more about databases, because it turns out that I know basically nothing about SQLite, and I had to have my friend help me out with the entire setup of the database. And to be honest, it's still not working, so looks like I'm going to be having some fun fixing it next week.